Hi, I'm demonstrating, hopefully without going into too much detail, I'm demonstrating how to resolve a shoulder dystocia. So first off, I wanted to start with like, what are the signs of a shoulder dystocia? So some first indications that I may be thinking like, something may not quite be right here, is if I'm seeing a baby that's like slow to crown, or a baby that just doesn't seem to be coming. You may or may not get that classic turtle sign, head is born, and you get that kind of, the body almost retracts, you get the big like chubby cheeks. You may or may not see that, but if it feels like baby's a little bit slow, if everything still looks good, if baby's color is good, you can wait for the next contraction and to see like, is baby coming? However, if you're seeing really solid indications that something is going on, there's no need to wait for the next contraction. You can just kind of go ahead and get started and see if you can start trying to figure out what the problem is. So before, I'm going to start checking for problems, and that may look like I'm going to go in and check. I have my baby here. So I may be just going in to check and see if there's a cord. Is there a tight cord or possibly a short cord? Basically, I'm checking for soft tissue problems. Is there a hand? Well, I guess first of all, if there's a cord there, I'm going to attempt with the next contraction to push baby's face. Get my baby here. I'm going to attempt to push baby's face really close to mom's thigh, so that the cord doesn't need to lengthen, to allow the body to somersault out, and then can deal with the cord entanglement. If I go in and do not feel a cord around the neck, but maybe I feel a nuchal hand, maybe I feel little fingers right there, you can try to, I hate using the word pinch, but like kind of pinch baby's fingers to see if you can get baby to get their hand down. Sometimes that's possible. If it is, if you have this kind of thing going on, you can just hope that baby comes with the next contraction, and you're just holding that arm in and elbow in as tight to baby's body as you can, to try to protect mom's perineal tissue as baby's being born. So for this demonstration, we are going to assume that I've gone in and I've checked for all of those things, and like none of those things seem to be the problem. So at that point in time, I'm going to, ask somebody if they can come help. And movement is the first thing that I like. If we're on hands and knees, let's turn over into McRoberts. If we're already kind of down, or if mom is supine, however she's laying, we can go from there, or we can ask the client to move to hands and knees. I think that motion is really good, especially if we're seeing, any of those signs, dusky baby, bright purple baby, whatever the case may be. Let's get some movement happening. So for demonstration, we're going to say we've gotten mom on her back to McRoberts. We have her knees up. We're trying to make some room in the sacral part of the pelvis. And we can try some suprapubic pressure, and that is having an assistant. I hope you can see here. So this is having an assistant come in, and assuming that it's this anterior shoulder that's stuck on the pubic symphysis, we're having our assistant come in, and we're trying to roll this shoulder this direction. And the idea there is to get some movement and to kind of like collapse the baby, decrease the diameter there. So hopefully we could get that anterior shoulder resolved. And then you can, from there you can go to, Woods corkscrew or Rubens, however that's kind of working. Or if that's not going to work, I would probably rotate again, flip whichever direction that we are. Or if we're going in for the posterior shoulder, we're trying to get some movement one way or the other on the posterior shoulder, and hopefully we're being able to, with Mom in McRoberts, that with that added room in the posterior of the pelvis, that hopefully we're going to be able to go in and get that arm out, and that when we get that arm out, we're going to reduce the baby's diameter by about 20%. Let's see, what else do I want to talk about? I did want to review that sling traction. My brain goes there occasionally, just in those in the event of a really bad dystocia, when nothing seems to be working and you know that you're 45 minutes from a hospital type situation. I don't know where my cord went. Sorry, we'll use this cord instead. So I think I just wanted to review this mainly for my brain. And I like the idea of using this because I feel like I have the instruments handy. I have a Dali on my birth tray. So I would have, and we would, because we know we have a shoulder dystocia, we already have like recess gear close and stuff. So I know I'm going to have a Dali close. So for this case, I'm using just headphone cords, whatever I have. So the sling traction is, we're going in, and we're trying to just loop that Dali cord basically through baby's posterior armpit. So we're going in there and, getting that cord through. And I hope that you're being able to see this okay. So we have baby's posterior arm looped, not out yet. Jeez. And then I would have also on the birth tray instruments, obviously. So I could use a hemostat to kind of really secure right there, and try to get some movement in that posterior arm. I can see that being a good tool. I think I've watched enough videos that have been really intense, and I think I was originally thinking that that's nothing that I would ever consider because of the amount of extra time and instruments and just like one more thing to fumble with. But some of those videos, like, there's a whole lot of force being used. Anyway, it just seems like it's a lot. Okay, so the other thing I wanted to talk about was a face presentation, which I have not seen yet, I'm assuming. Hopefully won't, but so I just wanted to mention that. So if this, my doll doesn't present face very well. But if you have a face presentation, hopefully not posterior. Anyway, thorn maneuver, and the thorn maneuver is meant to, internally, you're trying to like physically flex baby's head, and you have an assistant on the breech, and you're trying to basically collapse the baby this way. Like, you're trying to basically force baby to flex. So you have one person on the breech and then another person that's trying to go in this way, to kind of collapse baby, to cause that, that breakdown. Also, with a posterior breech, or, I'm sorry, not a posterior breech, a posterior face presentation, without flexion. I actually couldn't find it. I'm looking at Oxford Foot right now. But to try to get that flexion even as baby is at the perineum trying to crown, that I had read in one of these 100 textbooks about like going in through mom's rectum to try to reach baby's occiput and try to make baby flex right there as well. Yeah, I hope that that does not happen to me, but yeah, I hope that that I'm able to work that out. I think those are all the things that I wanted to talk about. And I'm trying to not get stuck on all the different acronyms. There's helper and prompt and fudge and flip-flop. Flip-flop is a little bit easier for me to remember. Basically, you're turning mom over, you're going to the runner start, and I'm trying to remind myself that that runner start, if you have client hands and knees, and if baby's back is on the right side, then it's mom's right leg that goes up into the running start position. So wherever baby's back is, that's the leg that goes up on the client. And the purpose of that is you're trying to get baby's shoulders into the oblique, and then you can get that posterior arm. And if you can get the posterior arm out, again, that reduces the the fetal diameter by about 20%. So yeah, you should be able to get baby out after that. Lots of good stuff. Anyway, all right, that's what I've got. Thanks.